Hello and welcome to the Ram Show. It is. Why do I want to say September, but it's not September? It's October 29th, 2017. Welcome back. We have a fantastic show, hopefully, for you this week. Lots and lots of hardware news this week, because there wasn't really much in the tech news. It was kind of a boring week. Anyway, with that being said, I would like to bring in, and I think I've got all the buttons correct. Zach, can you hear me?
I mean, I could like 2 minutes ago, so probably.
All right, Zach, you can hear me. I can hear you.
Say that again? I hear you.
It looks like you've got audio bars. I've got audio bars. We're streaming. So, yes, everything is good this week. So, yeah. Let's have a show. How about that?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. A couple cool things to go over with you this week. You've heard of iFixit before, right?
Yeah.
So somehow I managed to get us to be like part of the like pro side of that, and so now we can get like discounts on certain items off the website. So
Really?
yeah, that's a
What the
thing.
heck?
Yeah.
I'm gonna Google that.
Well, you have an account.
I'm still gonna Google it.
So anyway,
They have like, what's it called?
well,
Like do-it-yourself kits for fixing a bunch of
oh
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
iFixit and stuff like that.
iPhone.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay, I know what you're talking.
They have their iFixit toolkit, which I really want to get one. It's got like a bunch of different tool bits and stuff like that. There's like the 64-bit like tool driver and stuff like that, and they've got like odd bits so you can take apart like iPhones and stuff like that. And then they've also got like a bunch of like prying tools in there, and it's pretty cool. I really want
Sounds
one.
interesting.
Really. Yeah. Hang on. Fixit.com. Let me. Yeah. Okay. So, if you don't know what iFixit is, so this is what it is right here. And
I
basically,
just
there's
looked it up. Don't worry.
yeah, there's well, I'm explaining it for the viewers too. So they have a bunch of like teardown guides and like stuff like that to help you learn how to like. So let's say you had an iPhone with a broken screen. You could go to iFixit.com, type in the model. So here, let's do that real quick. So like, let's do what like iPhone 6 or whatever, because that's what I can think of, or like iPhone 7 or whatever. Anyway, so then it gives you this list of stuff. You know what? I'm going to do this. So we're going to disappear off the screen for a moment, but at least you can see the mouse pointer here. So we're going to go to like iPhone 6 right here. And it gives you a bunch of replacement guides. So let's say you needed to replace where is screen, because that seems to be something that everyone always breaks.
Especially people who own Apple products.
Yeah.
Strangely enough.
Let's see here. Antenna flex, camera lens, front panel assembly, front panel. That might actually be what it is.
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
Maybe it's not. Anyway, so they give you a guide, and it looks like, and you can buy parts for stuff too. This says $0, so I'm guessing that they don't have any of the parts that you need or whatever. But it basically gives you this whole little guide as to how to take the thing apart, and they show you the tools and stuff like that. So it's actually a pretty cool little website. And you can sign up for an account and buy the parts you need and stuff like that. And you can view all the guides for free. You don't need to have an account or pay any money for that stuff. So that's actually pretty cool. They've got teardown guides and stuff like that. But if you go to like tools here, and then go down to toolkits, this is the thing that I'm really interested in. So they've got like different like little things here, but the ProTech toolkit. This is the one thing that I am very interested in. We'll see if this page is going to load here. Oh, it's like a little video up at the top. So anyway, so yeah, so it's got the 64-bit driver kit in it, which is pretty cool. So Philips, Flathead, Torx Security, Pentalobe, JIS, Hex. There's triangle bits in there, spanner, game bit.
I can't hear anything.
Some of these I've never heard of before. Can you hear me? Test one.
You are roboting really, really bad.
I don't think it's on my end.
Okay, well, it must be because my connection is fine on anything else that
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. There's a Jimmy here. There's a bunch of different tools, anti-static wristband or whatever. Is that what this thing is? The anti-static wrist strap. That's what it is. So anyway, it's pretty cool. $60, but definitely well worth it if you're going to be taking your stuff apart. So anyway, let me bring us back here. So. How is my, is it sounding better or is it still horrible on your end?
Fine, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe it was because I was searching through all the pages and stuff like that, but that shouldn't make a difference. It shouldn't make a difference. Hang on. I'm curious to say, speed test. Let's see here. Did you know?
Sounds more like packet loss to me.
Possibly. I mean, my ping is at 16. Uh-oh. Did I? Oh, never mind. I thought I froze the computer up again. Let's see. I'm curious to see what the upload speed is. Okay, so my upload speed is not as high as it normally is. It's sitting at about 15 or so. Oh, well, now it hit 16, 17. It's going up. 18.
Wow, I don't know what's going on, but I can only tell you what I hear. So, yeah, what I hear is lots of roboting.
Interesting. And yet, on the live stream, it's probably going to sound fine.
I don't know. Maybe.
What is jitter? Do you know?
Huh?
Jitter.
What's the context of that?
For, like, well, I ran a speed test.
I don't know. What the heck? I've never heard of that.
I honestly don't know what it is either. Let's see. Nah, I'm too lazy to look it up. Anyway. 48.7 down, 18.4 up.
I mean, jitter could be packet loss.
I don't know what jitter is. Oh man, now I'm actually curious. I don't think we've ever gone over that in a networking class before. What jitter is?
I've never heard of that.
Well, it's not on like if you run like a main speed test, it's like not on it. Let's see. Let's see what this is. Jitter is defined as a variation in the delay of received packets. The sending side transmits packets in a continuous stream and spaces them evenly apart. Because of networking congestion, improper queuing, or congestion errors, the delay between packets can vary instead of remaining consistent, as shown in the figure.
It does sound kind of like jitter, I suppose. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, if you know anything about networking, so basically, unless you're sending something super small, like maybe a text document or whatever, it has to split up the information into different segments, basically.
Even a text document would have to get split up.
Actually, you're probably right, but it splits it up into segments, and then it sends those segments, and then it puts them back together on the other end. Stuff like that, so... that's how networking works. Kind of ish. There's more to it than that. Oh, and then you get into UDP and TCP. Do you remember the difference between them?
Yeah, I do. Don't worry.
Which one is which?
Huh?
Which one is which?
Itch? That's what I heard.
Which one is which?
UDP sends them without checking if they got through or not.
I thought that was TCP.
What? No, UDP sends them without checking if they made it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So UDP would be like YouTube or Netflix or like live streams. Or not live streams, but like Discord or Slack or whatever when you're doing like voice over IP. It just sends everything and hopes it makes it there. Apparently that's not happening with us because you keep getting dropped packets.
Yeah. Never happens with anybody else. So I don't know what to tell you.
But I have decent internet!
I don't care if you have decent internet. I'm only telling you what the result is.
I bet you it is the crummy internet at the campus. You know what me and Joe tried to do the other day?
No. See, I'm telling you, it doesn't happen with anybody. So that's why I think
I don't know.
Something's up on your end.
Well, it could possibly be because I'm also streaming too, so
Maybe.
that could possibly be. Anyway, no. So, I was at the local thrift shop the other day. I went to like Goodwill and I went to the Salvation Army, right? Looking around at stuff. Guess what I found for $1.75?
I have no idea.
I found a router.
Do tell.
I found a router.
Huh? A router?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of router?
A Linksys.
An enterprise router or
No, like a home router. But it was it was a Cisco Linksys router. And the cool thing about those ones is you can run DDWRT on them. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I know what that is.
So anyway, the idea was going to be to try to bridge the access or the router into the NIAC like Wi-Fi, and so like Joe could have his own little access point in his room.
I wish. I have one on my ceiling, and it doesn't. It only seems to. The signal quality only feels good for like 2 of my 3 devices.
Wait, there's one like specifically in your room? Wow.
Right now, away or so.
See, now you're doing it too on my end, ish. It's gotta be something. I don't know. Anyway, wow, you lucked out though. I don't know how well the connection is in your room. It should be decent with it in your room, but I don't know.
I mean, it is most of the time. Sometimes I just get booted off for no reason, and that's really irritating.
Right? You know what you guys should do? I don't know, like, if your rooms are close enough, but, like, you and Joe should, like, go in together and get, like, a hotspot or something. Well, actually, no. Because you guys would eat up through the data pretty quickly, I would imagine.
It'd be a great idea if data caps weren't a thing.
Right? So... Actually, there's a story about that in here. Let me jump ahead here real quick. So Verizon, probably one of the biggest network carriers out there, loves to throttle you, right?
Of course they do. They're Verizon.
2 months ago, Verizon implemented a change to all of its unlimited data plans that placed limits on the quality at which customers could stream video. So this only applies if you're streaming video, I guess. But the company has split its unlimited plan into 2 tiers, with the cheaper option restricting video streaming to 480p resolution. A higher priced $85 beyond unlimited plan tops out at 720p video.
How do you go beyond unlimited? That's garbage! And it's still not unlimited is the best part.
And 1080p on tablets. The new restriction immediately applied to all plans, and Verizon customers had no way of opting out if they wanted to watch 1080p video on their phone, or even higher resolution on capable devices using mobile data. But now Verizon will give subscribers a way to completely remove the video quality handcuffs for an extra amount of money.
Yeah, that's a load of garbage.
How much do you think the extra amount of money is, though? It's not as high...
$50 a month.
No,
who knows?
It's not ridiculous. As high. It's a 2-digit number. It's not as high as you may think it is.
I don't know. I mean, you just said it was $85 or whatever for the Beyond Unlimited, so
10 extra bucks.
Well, I mean, that's not too bad, but sheesh.
Yeah. So if you're willing to pay that extra $10 charge, you can stream video at the maximum quality supported by any device you've got connected to Verizon. Whether that's 1080p, 1440p, or even 4K.
Yeah, but what are I mean, say you don't want to stream video. What if you're tethering? Are they going to mess with you for tethering? What are they?
I don't know. It says, keep in mind that this extra fee is applied per line.
Oh, God.
For anyone,
Verizon they're just like double dipping, triple dipping, whatever dip.
yeah, for anyone on a family plan who wants to lift the limits, even on a single line plan, it adds up. Tacking $10 onto Verizon's Beyond Unlimited ratchets up the monthly price to $95.
That is ridiculous. Oh,
yeah.
like I mean, if this if this truly unlimited option is actually truly unlimited, then good for them for even offering it, because a lot of carriers do. But
you're right. A lot of carriers don't.
It is just ridiculous how much they want for.
Yeah. T-Mobile customers, let's see here. Oh, wait, hold on. I skipped part of it. So the $10 add-on will be available beginning November 3rd if you want it. It's particularly hard to swallow this extra charge when none of these video streaming constraints extend in the first place on Verizon only 3 months ago when there was only one unlimited plan. But here we are. You're paying more money to get back the full quality video. So it sounds like they were giving you like full quality video, and now you have to pay more to get it.
They're like, oh yeah, I think we can't be doing that anymore. And then a couple months later, hey, you want unlimited video? Well, you better be prepared to open your wallet.
Unlimited video, like at the best quality that your device can support.
Even then, even at the lesser qualities, they're still making you pay.
That's true. That's true. So none of this is actually a problem when you're connected to Wi-Fi, of course. Amazon would tell you that very few customers have been complaining since the 720p ceiling was put in place for smartphones.
Okay, well that's probably because very few people even know.
That could be, or they don't.
Maybe they
care.
Notice, oh, this video not looking quite so good, but I mean, whatever.
Well, think about the average consumer. How many of them actually?
What I'm thinking about.
Yeah, how many of them actually know the difference between like 1080p, 720p, and if you think about it, 720p and 1080p look very similar.
Let's be honest. On mobile, the difference isn't huge. The difference is actually quite negligible.
Yeah, you're right. And
the fact that you're getting shortchanged by that is just scum.
But I see. Here's the thing on a smartphone. I think you don't notice it as much because of the fact that like the screens are smaller. Because the idea behind like 720p is the difference between 720p and 1080p. 1080p has a lot more pixels, so when you have a bigger screen, it helps with the quality. When you have a smaller screen, the pixels can be closer together, and stuff like that. So
1080 on a mobile device is like, why even bother with 4K when your screen is like that small?
I don't know.
I just never understood that. Why does it matter if it's 4K when your screen is that small? Everyone's touting 4K screens on their phone and their mobile devices these days.
So that's what I'm asking. Are there 4K? Are the Retina displays 4K? I don't know.
On a cell phone? Yeah, absolutely.
That's a thing now? Goodness.
What?
That's a thing now?
Yeah, of course it is. 4K is on everything now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's becoming the new thing now.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I remember when my local news station switched over to like the 1080p full or 16:9 aspect ratio. They'd do the opens. You're watching KIMT News 3 at 10 in high definition.
High definition. Oh man, it's high definition.
Apparently, all the reporters went out and got like HD makeup too. It was like special makeup that was supposed to make yourself look better, like for the new HD stuff. I'm waiting for when the 4K craze actually like when TV stations start broadcasting in 4K. Is there going to be 4K makeup then?
I didn't know that HD makeup was a thing.
I didn't
What
either until I heard it.
Please explain.
I think it was
What?
I would imagine it was just regular makeup with like 4K added onto it to like, you know, well, because the idea was that, you know, 1080p was this brand new thing that was supposed to make everything look better. And so this new makeup was supposed to like help cover things up and make you look better on air. So, anyway, I don't know. I don't know like all the details about it. I just know that it was a thing. So
that just seems completely bonkers.
But,
what on earth is that?
But okay, think about it.
Makeup. What?
Exploiting
what the heck?
Exploiting the marketplace, you know? Or
I mean, I guess if people are stupid enough to pay for that, I don't understand. How is that? How can that be HD? Huh?
Well, like I said, it was specifically designed for, supposedly, quote unquote, specifically designed for, you know, to make you look better with the HD cameras, and I don't know.
Man, that really just makes my brain hurt.
Back to this real quick. So T-Mobile customers must have the T-Mobile One Plus plan to watch HD video, and that starts at $80 a month. Holy mackerel! Jeez.
See, usually I often see T-Mobile trying to be the good guy, right? You know, they're a little smaller than their
that's for a
competitors,
single line plan, by the way.
So they often make themselves look like the good guy by, you know, doing things like that. Things like that. What am I talking about? Things like I think for a while they were one of the only carriers with an actually unlimited plan.
I do remember that big craze.
Like they've fallen to the scum and villainy.
Yeah, I do remember that when they were like rolling commercials that were like, "We have the truly unlimited."
We have the only unlimited plan.
I think they still do that actually.
I don't know if there was actually any like loopholes in that or not.
I don't know either. Knowing what we know about ISPs though, there probably were.
Perhaps, but at the same time, they have to make themselves look good next to a lot of big names.
That is true.
There was no.
That is true.
I don't know.
So
it seems to me like they've kind of fallen to the same BS that everyone else has, though. But these tiered unlimited plans, like what is?
Oh yeah.
Unlimited plans. How can there be tiers to unlimited?
And you know what? And here's the other thing too.
Oh yeah, I have the level 1 unlimited plan, but if I pay a little more, I might get the level 2 unlimited plan. What do you mean?
Well,
level 2 unlimited plan? What's the difference? Isn't unlimited the same thing?
Yeah, well, isn't unlimited supposed to be unlimited?
If you're these people, no.
No.
Unlimited is unlimited, but only at 480p and only on Tuesdays and only while you're sitting at...
Yeah, with throttling and stuff. What? Well, okay, so...
Like, yeah, you only have unlimited under these specific conditions, and then if you don't fulfill those conditions, you're paying extra.
Let me say something, though, here. Really? So let me jump on the topic of net neutrality real quick here, and that is that if cell phone providers are already starting to do this with quote-unquote unlimited plans... Like, what are they going to do if net neutrality goes away? Because they're already implementing these tier things.
I'd rather not find out.
I'd rather not find out either. Hold on. Let's finish this topic up real quick here. So, if you have a full 4-line family plan on T-Mobile, that's going to be $50 a month per line. The regular T-Mobile One plan is limited to 480p or DVD quality. If you're on AT&T, the Unlimited Plus plan, that is the one you need for HD video streaming. That costs you $90 for 1 line or $50 a line for 4 lines. So competitively-ish priced with T-Mobile. Oh, and Sprint. Do we even talk about Sprint?
What about Sprint? Is this one particularly bad?
No, it's just that Sprint doesn't have the best track record usually when it comes to reliability.
Yeah, and even then, they're still pulling this scummy stuff.
So Sprint's unlimited freedom allows video quality streaming up to 1080p on mobile data and that starts at, oh wow, $60 a month.
I mean, they're at least screwing you a little bit less than everyone else.
Yeah, that's per single line. If you want to watch at higher quality than 1080p, that's going to cost you an extra $10 per month. So, yeah. Oh, man. No, I do love this, though. It's unlimited, but not really.
Oh, it's unlimited.
Well,
ha ha.
I've said this in the past before.
In your dream.
To be fair, technically it is unlimited because they're not going to cut you off. Well, no. It is because they're not going to cut you off, but they will throttle you. So technically...
It's not unlimited because you can't... There's limits on what you can do with it.
Yeah, but the way they're looking at it, when they say unlimited data, they're saying you get unlimited data, we're not going to cut you off.
You can use unlimited gigabytes.
Okay. Yes, you can use unlimited gigabytes. So, if we're looking at it from the technicality side point, technically they're not lying. I guess. You have to give them that. But it is still bull that they are throttling you down after so much. And here's let me guess, this is the argument that the ISPs would make. Well, it puts too much strain on our network.
No, it's not. Garbage.
And even if it is, they have the money to expand the networks.
Yeah, that too.
But anyway.
They very much do.
You know, sometimes I
wonder
what it would be like to actually own our own ISP.
Amazing, I'm sure.
Right?
Oh, we could screw so many people over. Oh, I just wait.
Or do we do the smart thing and not screw people over?
Nah, you lost me already.
Well, no, hold on. Think about it. Do the smart thing, not screw people over. Would that make more people come join our network?
No, you're not thinking right. What are you talking about?
I don't know, though. Like, undercut everyone else. You know, still enough to the point where we can, like, make money and, like, keep our infrastructure, like, you know, decent and stuff like that. But, you know, providing, you know, fiber to the home and no data caps and, you know, stuff like that and things. I mean, you could have different tiers, I guess, and things like that, but or different speeds. But I think if you undercut the rest of the market, like, more people are going to be like, ooh, hey, you know, we can get a better product for less money. We're going to go there. I don't know. Maybe. That's my thought on that. So.
You're right. You're right. I'm being sarcastic.
So, I mean, to be honest, like, besides, like, licensing restrictions and stuff like that, you can, I guess, get a connection into a Tier 1 provider. A Tier 1 or Tier 2 provider. It's going to cost you, like, $1,000 a month, but, you know, if you have, like, what, you know, 5 customers or whatever, and you're, like, you know, providing them internet for like $50 a month or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
you might need more than that, but anyway.
You don't have to have that many customers to break even, if you really think about it.
If you really think about it, the hardest part about doing it would be figuring out the infrastructure and how you're going to get the internet to those people. Stuff like that.
Yep, that too.
So, I mean, theoretically, if you're doing it, like, in town or whatever, you might be able to get away with, like, beaming satellites to, like, people's houses and stuff like that.
Latency would be way too high.
What did you say?
The latency would be way too high with that.
I don't know about that.
Garbage.
I don't know about that.
I think it would be.
Well, okay, but Linus was thinking about doing it. Like, sharing, like, the 10 gigabit connection he had from his home, or from like the office to his home, and that would have been using like satellites
with the antenna. I don't think that's gonna work. I mean, it'd probably be fine if you're not relying on packets moving quickly.
I don't know. know. Satellite
But
has become a lot better. I don't know on all the technicalities of that and everything, but anyway.
I have had a first-hand experience with satellite not too long ago. I'm sure it was not a very good satellite connection, but it was very, very less than 1 megabit down, and oh boy, the latency is real.
Well, yeah, as you get further away, there's going to be latency. I don't know. You'd have to figure out some effective and costly way to do it.
It doesn't matter how much high tech you have, you still have to wait for light to get from orbit to you.
Oh, no, I'm not talking like satellites like up in like the sky. Like I'm talking more like microwave like satellites kind of.
Oh.
So
okay, well, I mean, it would be a lot better than satellite. Don't get me wrong, but I still think
satellite may be the wrong term.
Some bad weather is all you'd need to completely disrupt.
That could possibly be. I don't know all the technicalities on that. All right, let's move on though. Let's move on.
Sure.
So you love making fun of Apple.
I do.
This is kind of a sad story though. So Apple fires iPhone X engineer after daughter's hands on video goes viral.
Okay, well, hang on, what?
Apple fires one of their iPhone X engineers after his daughter posted a video about the phone before it was released online.
Was it a negative video?
It wasn't a negative video. But, well, okay, here. So Apple has reportedly dismissed an engineer after his daughter's iPhone X hands-on video went viral on YouTube. So she went to the company with him, got to look at the new iPhone X, and then made a hands-on video about the new phone before it's been released.
Yeah, right.
And then it went viral.
It escaped me that it hasn't even released yet.
Yeah, it hasn't even released yet. So, anyway, there was a vlog posted earlier this week, which included a trip to the Apple campus, and then this girl, was with her father. Anyway, so yeah, it goes on to her making the video, releasing it about, like I said, her hands-on experience with the thing, or with the new phone. It's been picked up by sites like 9to5Mac, and it's spread even further on YouTube. So, yes, went viral.
Fair enough.
So, this girl now claims that her father has been fired as a result of her video. How crappy is that? To know that you got your parent fired.
On a probably reasonably well-paying job, no less.
Right? Yes. Like, as much fun as you poke at Apple, Zach, like, I would imagine employees that work there make decent money.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
So, well, I would hope. I mean, Apple tax. Anyway. But no, that's the part that I keep coming back to is how crummy and, like, how crummy it is that you, like, have to now know that you got your parent fired.
Yeah, that can't feel good.
This girl goes on to explain her father violated an Apple company rule by allowing her to film the unreleased handset at Apple's campus. So here's my only other thing, though. Is it technically the daughter's fault, or is it the father's fault?
Both? Is both an option?
Or is both? Yeah, that is a good question. Is it both?
Totally both of their faults.
So, well, but see, the father had the responsibility of making sure that his daughter knew the rules. So,
sure.
Did the daughter know that she wasn't supposed to film?
But at the same time, common sense and all that?
You know what? I'm glad you said that because I was just about to throw that out as well. Common sense. This is a product that hasn't been released yet.
Of course, you're probably not supposed to take videos
of unreleased stuff.
Yeah.
So Apple reportedly requested that this guy be removed, or that the video, be removed, but it was clearly too late as the content spread further and further. And who blames them? brand new shiny from Apple. Ooh, hey, I want to know what it looks like and what all the hype is about. So,
is it crap?
I don't know. I didn't watch
Is it
the
not
video.
crap?
Oh,
No, I mean, that's what somebody who's looking at it might be thinking.
I caught on after I said it, but anyway. So the video itself may have seemed like an innocent hands-on, but it did include, get this. So, and this is exactly where that common sense thing comes in, Zach. So it included footage of an iPhone X with special employee-only QR codes.
Oh boy, even more.
Oh, and also get this. And Notes app, which also showed on the iPhone X, that was also shown in the video, and it appeared to include code names of unreleased Apple products.
Oh, even more. Ooh, nice. Yeah, I'm not surprised they fired him after that.
No, I'm not surprised either. Like, he already violated the company policy by letting her film, and then releasing that other information. Like, yeah, you're done.
Bye.
Wasn't there a big thing like bye Felicia? I don't remember what the whole context of that thing was, but anyway, that was a big thing like a couple months ago. Not a couple months ago, like last year or something like that.
I don't know what you're talking about, actually.
Okay, fine. There's like some video or movie or I don't remember. Anyway. So yeah, basically in TLDR, so daughter went, filmed hands on, put the video online, went viral, father got fired.
Hope you didn't want that job anyway.
I guess the same thing happened to a Microsoft employee as well. He was dismissed after his son posted pictures of the Xbox 360 before it released. The Apple engineer in question had worked at the company for around 4 years, building the iPhone RF and wireless circuit design. The Verge reached out to Apple to confirm the dismissal, but the company has not yet responded to a request for comment. So, yeah, like, I feel bad for the guy, kind of, but at the same time, too, it's kind of like, and I don't know all the details, too, that's the other problem, like, you know, did he know she was doing it?
We don't know everything.
Yeah, did he know she was doing it? If he did, then why didn't he say something? Or, so, there.
If he did, then that's his fault.
Yeah, exactly. And so at that point, then, I, like, don't feel bad. Well, to say that I don't feel bad sounds, like,
you know,
bad,
I mean,
but yeah. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, if you did know what was happening, then it's like, you kind of had it coming. So.
Yeah.
Anyway. Let's see. What else do we have? I'm doing this off my iPad, so I'm starting to get used to this whole thing, because I was too lazy to copy things and make paper copies and stuff like that this week. So, anyway. Ooh! So this is going to be primarily more of a hardware. Oh, you know what I did? I skipped over something. Hold on. Uh-oh. Hold on.
Good job.
Okay. I'm good now. Have you ever... There's a thing in radio called... not all radio stations have them, but there's, like, cough buttons that you can, like, hit and it mutes the mic.
That's a good one.
I don't know if you heard me sneeze there, Zach, but...
I did.
The live stream couldn't, because I managed to mute the mic before. So, it's going to be very weird when people are watching back. It's just going to go silent for a minute. Anyway. Okay. Because we started out of order, so I'm a little off right now. So, anyway. Anyway, time for Microsoft news now. So, we've been on this whole kind of... Well, I don't know if we... What did we talk about last week? Do you remember on Microsoft news?
Nope.
I don't remember. Well, we had the real Microsoft story, and that was kind of the lame one. And then we talked about how they made fun of Google. You remember that? For a security flaw in Chrome.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yep, I remember that.
And the week previous to that, I think we talked about how it was like the Groove music streaming service was dying. And so for a while there, we were on like this whole what Microsoft product is going away now? Well, there's another one this week. So Microsoft is killing off the Kinect. Which is weird because I thought they already did this. But maybe I'm wrong.
Well.
So, Microsoft is finally admitting Kinect is truly dead. So, should we go back and...
Jeez, I haven't even heard of that in so long. What the heck?
Well, should we go back and see what's finally dead in Microsoft now? Let's see. The Zune era is dead. The Windows Phone is dead. Their music streaming service is dead.
Better hope Windows is on point.
Now the Kinect is
doing
dead.
Pretty well.
I don't see Windows going anywhere anytime soon. I think it will be around for a while.
That is true.
Unless Microsoft majorly F's it up somehow. I don't know. They're getting close though with all this telemetry data crap.
Yes,
so
you're right.
Anyway, apparently the Fall Creators update is out now, or is that what it's called? Fall Creators update, or I don't remember. Apparently that's out. I haven't upgraded yet. I probably will just because, lols. So anyway,
sure.
You're still sitting on what version? Because you don't even have the anniversary update, do you?
No, I didn't want that garbage.
Here's the problem, though. The thing that I foresee is that every time they release a new update, they also include, like, security patches for things and stuff like that. So, that is the one thing you're not getting is all the security patches.
Mm-hmm.
So...
However, I think that, things like Windows Defender and such update themselves independently, although I'm not sure.
I don't actually know
Either
about
way,
all that.
I'm doing all right.
For now. For now. So Microsoft, like I said, is finally admitting that Kinect is truly dead. After years of debate over whether Kinect is truly dead or not. See, okay, that's what I thought. I thought we had been doing this whole back and forth thing. Kinect is dead. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. The software giant has now stopped manufacturing the accessory. So it's dead. Done. Finito. Nada.
Nope.
Anyway. I lost my spot. Fastco Design reports that the depth camera and microphone accessory has sold around 35 million units since its debut in November of 2010. Microsoft Kinect for Xbox 360 even became the fastest-selling consumer device back in 2011, winning recognition from the Guinness World Record. Oh, wow, really? At the time. Interesting. I didn't know that, Guinness actually tracked that stuff. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
I remember when I was young, reading through the book of, Guinness World Records and stuff like that, and thinking to myself, there's an idea I could try to beat. Oh, there's another one. There's another one.
And how many of them have you beaten exactly?
I'll let you take a guess. None. Although, I think it would be kind of cool to break a world record.
Yeah.
I just gotta figure out
much work.
Yeah. I just gotta figure out what it would be. It's gotta be something that, can be done that's not gonna take a ton of work. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so in the years since its debut on Xbox 360, a community built up around Microsoft Kinect, or a community built up around Microsoft Kinect. It was popular among hackers looking to create experiences that tracked body movement and sensed depth. Microsoft even tried to bring Kinect even more mainstream with the Xbox One, but the pricing and feature failed to live up to the expectations. Microsoft was then forced to unbundle Kinect from Xbox One and produce a unsightly accessory to attach the Kinect to the Xbox One S. After early promise, Kinect picked up a bad name for itself. Wasn't there also a lot of controversy about like the thing like sending data back to Microsoft and like recording you when like it was off and things like that?
I thought it was more like the thing just didn't work.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that, but knowing Microsoft, that's probably pretty true.
I mean, yeah.
Let's see. What has Microsoft built that doesn't work? The browser, the Kinect.
Well, I guess the browser works, but no one wants to use it anyway because
because it's a piece of crap.
Because everyone already has a better browser,
right?
So, I don't think they're winning anybody over with Edge.
No. I haven't tested Edge out yet, and I probably should because I know like probably a lot of average consumers use it. But for web development, like I remember when I was first learning web development, like for whatever odd reason, like Internet Explorer had like totally like you actually had to include specific like CSS, which is cascading style sheet, so for styling and stuff like that, or like even like HTML stuff. I think it was more with CSS though. Like you'd actually have to have like a separate style sheet with separate rules to tell Internet Explorer how to handle things, to get them to look the same as they did on other browsers. It was the most...
That sounds like a good time.
It was the most annoying thing in the world. Because, yeah, I would go to, like, one of my websites, and, like, it would look fine in, like, Firefox and Chrome. And then I'd open it up in Internet Explorer, and I'd be like, that's not where I put that. Or, that's not what that's supposed to look like. It was annoying as crap. So, anyway.
Wrong.
Yeah. So, anyway, basically the whole premise of this whole little story right here, like I said, like, there wasn't super interesting stuff in the news this week, but yeah, so Kinect is dead. Next thing for Microsoft, you know, what product do you think is going to be next to be killed off?
I don't know.
I wonder. Well, they're running out of products, aren't they? You know what? I think Microsoft has done well enough with the Xbox, like in designing it and getting in.
The
like,
Xbox isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think they've done well enough with that that's not going to go anywhere. The operating system's not going anywhere. So the only other thing I can think of is like the Surface is having problems right now. That may be the next thing to go. I could be wrong on that.
I don't know about
too.
that. I mean, enough people buy them and stand by them that
I don't know why, though. They are so overpriced for what you get. Then again, I mean, people buy Apple products.
Like people buy MacBooks. You bought a MacBook. You don't get to.
I bought a MacBook before I knew a bunch of stuff about like hardware, and because the battery life on the thing. That was probably one of the main reasons why.
You tell me that it's great. So I mean,
well,
doesn't seem like
I need to
replace it too much.
I need to replace the battery in mine, but I would be lying if I didn't say that. Like, I was looking at new MacBooks like a couple months ago, just to kind of see what like the pricing was on them and things like that. But, like, here's my thing. As I think about getting a new portable machine, I am leaning more and more towards heading back to Windows.
Good choice.
Well, see, here was the thing. So, for a while there, I was doing all the editing and stuff in Final Cut Pro. But, since I've now moved to Adobe products that run on, you know, my PC, and stuff like that, it would make sense then to be able to go out and get a, a portable Windows machine. Plus, most of what I do is on the Windows side, too, kind of thing. So, I don't know. Anyway, I like having the option of having both, though. Because you could make the argument, yes, I can run Windows on my Mac. And I can. But it's not the same. It is definitely not the same.
Yes. Obviously.
So, anyway. I don't know. I like there's pros and cons to both platforms. Stuff like that. I'm not going to say that I don't like my Mac, because I do. I do like Macs. But I also do like Windows as well on PCs. So, I guess it just depends on the use case. So, to say that I am an Apple fanboy would be wrong, though, Zach. I may have a lot of Apple products, but I am not a fanboy. If I was a true fanboy...
Well, you do you.
Okay,
I mean, you're mostly right.
If I was a true fanboy, would I use a Windows PC?
If you didn't have a few $1,000s laying around you.
But I have a Mac. I have a MacBook Pro. I could just do everything on my MacBook.
I don't know.
So, no. And here's the only reason why I have as many Mac products as I do, is because of the fact that, okay, so my laptop, my iPad, my iPhone, my iWatch, they all interact together. I like that compatibility and the flexibility of all those devices being able to communicate with each other and share data across each other seamlessly. So, that's the thing I like the most about it. But, anyway. But, no, I do mind the price tag at point. Like, at times.
Yes.
So,
At times? Really?
Most of the time. So, most of the time. Ooh, I got an email. What did I get an email about? Ooh, we got a comment on our on our very first video, Zach. Windows 10 won't install because... Okay, this is what it says. Windows 10 won't install because SSE3 and execute disable bit sent a part of the processor instructions. That doesn't make sense. Weren't a part of the... I don't know. Somebody commented the other day, at least Windows tells you that you can't run Windows 10. Yeah, after you go through 3 hours of trying to get it to work.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous.
I saw that the other day. I was like, yeah, after 3 hours of trying to get it to work, and then it tells you can't do it.
Would have been nice to know before.
Right, yes. Well, our first clue should have been when we popped the CD and it did nothing.
Right.
Anyway, so... Do you remember... maybe when we get to a certain point, I think we're up to like 73. Ooh, do we have somebody on with us? Yeah, and it's the same person who sent us a comment as well. Retro.it, it looks like. Yes. Here, hang on. I'm not used to looking over into the chat because normally we don't have anybody on the chat. So, anyway, but what was I going to say? Oh, yes, I think we're up to like 73 subscribers now or something like that. So
oh boy, making it big.
So we're getting close to 100. And so that's like kind of the first milestone that I want to get to is like 100. And then once we're there, like, I think what they say is the first 1,000 is the hardest to get. So
I've heard that before.
And then like after that it's like easy, I guess, ish. So anyway. But yeah, it looks like there's 2 people watching, so I'm going to guess Retro IT is still on with us, I guess. So if you are, hello. Anyway, so let's move on here to hardware stuff now. So you have and there's a video on this, by the way, on the channel. is the we cram your 980 Ti into my toaster of a system.
Yeah.
Do you remember the conversation? How are we gonna get this thing out of my computer? That was quite interesting.
We just get it out, right? Like, what?
Well, remember, but there was that little release tab that like we had to get our fingers on and like release that and things. So anyway, let's see. RetroIT says Windows 10 doesn't work on the PC because the early P4 based CPUs don't have NX bit.
Oh, okay, right. I'm figure that's an instruction set.
I have no idea.
But yeah, P4 is a Pentium 4, which is probably what that thing has, and it doesn't have.
No, it was
that
not a Pentium.
Support.
Well, it wasn't a Pentium 4. It has actually a Celeron in that system.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Even worse.
You know what? So now that the system is dead, me and Joe took it apart the other day and salvaged kind of what we could out of it. So we salvaged the power supply, even though, like, and the only reason I salvaged that stuff out of it is because I figure if we ever have like an older build come in or something like that, or like a retro computer that like is actually worth money at some point, we need to put parts in it. Like, I have those things, but they're all like, what are they? No, they're not SATA. IDE, that's what they are. They're all IDE, peripherals and stuff like that. So, anyway, so speaking of graphics cards, NVIDIA has a brand new 1070 Ti that they released.
Yes. However, I am very sad that they did an NVIDIA thing, and they, well, at least the rumor was they were going to disable overclocking on it.
What?
Yep.
Why?
That is scumbag move right there, NVIDIA.
It is.
Because, and I know exactly why, it's because if it was overclockable, it might undercut the 1080. Because, you could overclock this thing and it probably performed very close to a 1080.
So,
and,
it was...
They don't want people being able to buy this thing and then overclock it into a 1080, do they? No, we can't have that.
Okay,
just disable
so when you
overclock.
explain it that way, like, from a business standpoint, I don't blame them. From the consumer standpoint,
but that's a very bad precedent.
From the consumer standpoint, oh yeah, we are going to give them crap for that all day long.
Okay, well, I should also say that that's just a rumor before it was even announced or released or anything. I don't know if they actually...
Okay, fine. If it is, then we're going to give them crap about that. And they're probably going to get a lot of crap for that.
And they are going to deserve every ounce of it.
Yes. So, brand new GTX 1070 Ti going for $449. So, $450. So,
isn't that about what the 1080 was going for not long ago?
I don't know.
I mean, it's like, what, $100 less than?
That's your department. That is your department.
Well, pretty sure that's about $100.
So, yeah, so
NVIDIA... I haven't looked at prices in a while, but $500 range is generally where you'll find a 1080. So, and they don't want people to buy this and be like, well, it almost performs like a 1080. I'll just overclock it a bit. Nope, can't. Because we're NVIDIA, and we said so.
Oh, okay, so NX bit, we were talking about that. Thank you, RetroIT. He says it's a piece of, I'm guessing it's a guy, maybe I'm wrong. They say it's a piece of code in the processor that prevents malicious code from executing. Windows 8 Plus requires it as part of the prerequisite for installation. Well, that makes sense.
So not an instruction, but a hardware feature.
Okay. Yeah, a hardware feature. Anyway, so if that is true, then
again, not really an issue for anything remotely modern.
No,
but,
no.
This thing is who knows how many years old. So, oh hey, it actually doesn't have that.
Well, I think the system was
something that
13?
Almost anything these days has.
But, okay, so if this is true, then that means that Windows 8, because I think somebody suggested Windows 8 on it, Windows 8 wouldn't have worked as well either. So.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
We could have gone up to Vista, but, yeah. My favorite reaction in that whole entire video was Zach, but Windows Vista. Windows
Oh,
Vista.
we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Nope. Nope.
And then Zach's like, we'll make it quick. We'll make it quick.
Why would you want to do Windows Vista? Windows Vista is... Geez, Windows Vista is getting pretty close to as old as that computer.
I think Windows Vista is not supported anymore. Oh, by the way, so thank you, Retro IT. He says,
I'm actually not sure about that. Is it? I feel like I would have heard something about that.
No, I think it's done.
I know XP isn't supported, obviously.
No, XP is not. I'm pretty sure Vista's out, too. But anyway, so Retro IT says, you've got a pretty cool channel here, by the way. Well, thank you very much. I think you did. If you haven't,
fantastic.
Please subscribe. So
I look at this guy just trying to get some subscribers. Really?
Yeah, gotta grow the channel.
We don't need those.
All right, so let's get back to this. So NVIDIA has launched a new member of its gaming GPU lineup, the GTX 1080 Ti. So much like the 1080 Ti released earlier this year.
Ti, right?
What did I say? Okay, so they released the 1070 Ti, much like the 1080 Ti released earlier this year. It serves as an upgrade version of the existing GTX 1070 model.
Right, but actually that's not entirely true, because if the information I saw is correct, it's actually a cut down 10.
Is it?
So I mean, naming would suggest, oh, it's just a beefed up 1070. No, not. Well, actually, thinking about it a little more, I think the 1070 is also a cut down 1080. So I mean, take.
So priced at $449, so $450, the 1070 Ti slots in right between the $399 1070 and the $549 1080, making it a solid choice if you're looking for some extra power over the 1070, but not quite willing to shell out for the 1080. And you're right.
Yeah, except the problem with that is they might have disabled overclocking. At least that's what the rumor was, and I don't know if they did or not.
Yeah, but okay, so if the 1080 is running for $549, then they're getting cheated out of what? Over $100?
You know what this is? This is actually just a basically a counter to the Vega 56. Because the Vega 56 is based on the benchmarks and opinions that I've been hearing. I mean, it's basically a 1070 that'll probably last a little bit longer. So NVIDIA are like, ah, crap, now we got to do this. All right, well, here's a slightly cut down 1080 for the same price. Boom, beat that, AMD.
Interesting. I wish I knew more about hardware so I could be more insightful during these topics. But unfortunately, I don't. But I'm learning. I am learning.
I haven't read about Vega since probably August. So I mean, I don't know. I might be wrong there too. That's just based on what I heard. The general opinion was, when I was reading all the reviews, is the Vega 56 is probably a better buy than the 1070, and the Vega 64, well, maybe in the future it'll be a better buy than the 1080, but right now it's not.
See, and here's the thing though, you're planning on getting a Vega, so you've been following that. I haven't, so.
Well, I was until it didn't really.
Oh yeah, wasn't that right? They came out and said that the gaming performance wasn't as good as they thought it was going to be. Wasn't that what it was?
I don't know if AMD said that, but a lot of reviews.
I thought that's what a lot of reviews were saying.
This isn't really the rival to the 1080 Ti that it maybe could have been. It probably was never going to be as good as the 1080 Ti, but if it had been at least better than the 1080 by a reasonable margin, it might have looked a little bit.
You're cutting yourself off again. They might have looked what? And then you dropped.
Huh? They might have looked a little bit better had they been able to best the 1080 conclusively instead of trading both.
Okay. Back to this. So compared to the 1070, the 1070 Ti offers improvement when it comes to specs. So it offers 2,432 CUDA cores compared to the 1,920 offered by the original 1070. So didn't you say that this was a lesser card than the original? Because if that's true,
No, I said it's a lesser 1080, I think.
Oh, a lesser 1080.
It's basically a cut down 1080, I believe, right? Or can you... Let me look through the specs that you're looking at here.
I'm just reading them off the article. Continuing on. So it's putting it closer to the 2560 CUDA cores found in the 1080. So you might actually be right. It might be a very cut down version of the 1080. The 1070 Ti also has a base clock speed of 1607 megahertz, improving on the 1070's base speed of 1506 megahertz, which can be boosted to 1683 megahertz. So that's the same top speed as the 1070, and it has 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 for onboard memory, like the 1070. Wait, okay. Let's see.
All right, here we go. I think I found what we're looking for here.
Hold on, let me ask you something real quick. So they're talking about the clock speeds, and it says which can be boosted to 1683. Is that what it can be boosted to? But see, because if they're putting that in there, does that mean that you could overclock it then or not?
No, that's the hardware boost. Like, let's see. How do I... Most GPUs have a base clock and a boost clock, and the boost clock is like, well, we can go this fast if we're cooled off enough and we have enough voltage.
Okay.
And the base clock is more of a, we can go this fast almost all the time.
I see.
Although, obviously cards will throttle if they go to avoid killing themselves. Okay, so 1080 versus 1070. So it does not, the only thing it's really missing compared to the 1080 is it is missing GDDR5. It only has GDDR5, and it is a small handful of cores. That's about it. Clock speeds, well, it's going to depend on what you're comparing to anyway. If you're comparing to an aftermarket 1080, a reference 1080, which aftermarket 1080 you're comparing to is also going to be a thing. But from what I saw, the 1070 Ti is going to be, all of the aftermarket ones are going to have the same clocks. It's just all, and well, I think that's bad because choices are good.
So no matter what brand you buy, the clock speed is going to be the same on all of them.
The only thing that you're buying is a different cooler. That's about it. And perhaps a different warranty.
Perhaps.
That's about it.
Okay, interesting.
Now, I'm not sure, like I've probably said 1,000 times, not sure if they changed their mind. Maybe they decided, maybe we should screw people over.
Well, going on to
I guess I wouldn't be surprised. Kind of irritating. Like, I'm sure this is a plenty good card. That's not a very good direction to be walking in, where you're denying people overclocking now? Really?
So, if it came out... Well, let me finish reading this, and I'll ask you this at the end here. So, NVIDIA is also positioning the 1070 Ti as an upgrade specifically for the company's latest generation GTX 970 GPU, noting that the new card offers twice the performance of the popular older model. It's a sensible move on the company's part, given that it's likely a tougher sell to get current 1070 customers to shell out the cash for what amounts to a relatively small performance increase. Now, you're running a 980 Ti. Even if
that is,
overclocking...
most situations, that is, you might as well call it a 1070. It's pretty much the same as far as performance goes. Some things are going to be a little better than others. But the performance is actually remarkably similar. It's a little weird how close, almost like they did that on purpose. They're like, well, all right, here's our 10 series. Well, the 1070 should be about this. And they thought to themselves, well, how many cores should it have to be that fast? And they came up with what they...
You're cutting in and out badly at the end.
My bad. Whatever.
We gotta find a different solution other than Discord.
Mm-hmm.
You were supposed to look into that. So, but here's my question for you then. So, with this new 1070 Ti coming out, and you looking to upgrade at some point, would you upgrade to this even if overclocking wasn't a thing, or would you just go for a 1080?
Are you asking would I actually do that, or if I was set on upgrading on one of those two, which one would I want?
Would you, okay, no, not set on upgrading, but like, because I know you want to upgrade, right?
No, I don't think I'll be buying either of them.
Okay. So what do you...
It's too much money for not enough performance gain. I would rather just wait for the next line to launch from probably both companies.
Okay, fair enough.
However, I mean, it's kind of a tough sell as of right now, which one of these would be better. Because, I mean, you can't deny the fact that the 1070 Ti is a barely lesser 1080. A reasonable price cut. $100? Yeah, that's not... So, I mean, well, I don't know.
So with that being said, then, if... Okay, so...
If not for the lack of overclocking, it would be the 1070 Ti, hands down, would be the card.
Right, because then you can basically turn it into a 1080 with overclocking.
Yeah, that's true. You could probably beat a stock 1080 with overclock.
Here's my question also on this as well, then, is for somebody looking to upgrade right now, or somebody who's looking to build a system that wants to go NVIDIA with this out, would you say, even if overclocking is not a thing, what would you say, or does it depend on use case? Would you tell somebody...
I think it's going to be popular regardless, because, yeah, it is fast, and, yeah, it costs $100 less than a 1080, so, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it'll be popular regardless. So, the fact that they're trying to take that away, though, is, like, really? Like, I mean, they've never done that before, and the 980 Ti was basically a Titan X killer, and that it was 95% as fast for several $100s less, and they didn't take that option away from you this time. So,
but I'm curious, in your opinion, then, what would you say, to somebody who's wanting to build a system? What is your recommendation? Would you say just go with the 1070, even though again, we don't know, but if there's no, let's go with the premise that there's no overclocking. And people know that already.
I think that
would you say go with the 1070 or go with the 1080?
Ti probably is a better buy, just because most people probably aren't even going to over.
That's true. Probably actually.
Most people probably aren't going to overclock this thing anyway. But it's just like, I mean, it's not all bad because it does look pretty good, right? This thing's almost as fast as a 1080. It costs $100 less. That's cool. I mean. Now, if this succeeds, then NVIDIA are going to be like, well, we took overclocking off of this, and we invented a cut-down 1080, and we took off overclocking so people can't turn it into a 1080, and it sold super well. Oh, let's do that.
Here's my only fear with that, though, then. They're going to start looking at this...
It's more about the precedent that, you can take away overclocking from people, and they won't...
Yeah, and that's my fear on this as well, is if this does succeed, are they going to be like, ooh, hey, we're going to make people pay more for overclocking now?
Basically like Intel.
Oh.
Oh, man. I guess we've kind of gotten used to it on CPUs, at least Intel ones. AMD, you can overclock almost anything that's Ryzen as long as you have the right motherboard. Wow.
Interesting. Speaking of Ryzen, let's move on here. So over the last year, one of the more interesting stories has been AMD's resurgence, to the relevance in the PC world, for the Ryzen processors that have come out. Stuff like that. And being the alternative to Intel. Because for a while there, if you remember, like, AMD was just kind of like, yeah, sitting over here in the corner, and, Intel was like, hey!
Was just kind of there with the... the 8000 and 9000 series, so we're like, I mean, we have a 5 gigahertz CPU. Yeah, but it still gets put in the trash by almost anything modern from Intel. Sorry.
According to Retro IT, he says Windows XP is supported until 2019. It is a very complicated story. I thought I remember seeing... I
think so, too.
Is it?
I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Well, perhaps it's... I think it's actually the I think what's actually going on is the slowly decreasing support. Like they're they're still going to patch vulnerabilities and things like that.
I think I do remember that.
They're not doing anything new with it. They're just making sure it continues to work.
Yeah, I think I do remember that. So, now he also says overclocking reduces the lifespan of hardware anyway. And that is true. Overclocking does reduce the lifespan of hardware. Although, haven't they gotten a lot better at it, though?
Yes.
So,
also, there's a difference between just overclocking and leaving your voltages the same and then, actually putting more voltage into something. Because the voltage is really what does it. See, if you don't overvolt your stuff, then...
That actually, yeah, that makes sense. See, I don't know enough about this stuff, like overclocking and things like that.
I'm willing to bet that between overclocked, non-overvoltage chips and stock chips, the difference in lifespan is probably within a reasonable margin.
Interesting. So getting back to Ryzen real quick here and AMD and stuff like that. So Ryzen, of course, the big brand new, CPU that's out on the market that's rivaling Intel right now, stuff like that. So AMD news Ryzen chips have managed to at least offer a credible challenge to Intel's dominance in almost every facet on the desktop PC world, from high-end multi-core processing like Threadripper line to the budget Ryzen 3. But now, get this, AMD is setting its sights even higher towards laptops.
I might have actually seen what you're talking about. I don't remember the model numbers, but there was a couple of mobile Ryzen chips that were actually looking pretty bad for Intel.
Huh.
By pretty bad for Intel, I mean they were better at almost everything besides single thread. They lost in single thread by somewhere between 10 and 20%, and they just kicked a butt at everything else.
Apparently,
including graphics as well. Intel...
Well, but okay.
Almost always had pretty strong integrated graphics.
But if you think about it, and it even says this later on in this article here, is that, does AMD with Ryzen have the upper hand because they also own, ATI? Or is it still ATI?
Because they put so-called Vega graphics on this thing?
I don't know if they put so-called graphics on the thing, but, wouldn't that give them the leg up? Because if you think about it, Intel doesn't do graphics, really.
I think they actually
AMD has a graphics
relationship with NVIDIA for the graphics. I don't know what the relationship is or really anything about it, but I'm pretty sure that NVIDIA does graphic stuff for them too.
That could be true. Apparently, Ryzen
5 2500U and Ryzen 7 2700U.
Apparently, Ryzen processors are not very Unix friendly. I didn't know that. Really? So,
well, is that just because they're new, maybe?
I don't know. Retro IT, do you have anything else on that for us? That's where it came from. So, well,
I think that might be something to do with them being reasonably new.
Reasonably new? I don't know.
I mean, compare that to the Intel stuff that's been floating around for how many? And not really changed too much.
Yeah, it could possibly be. So we won't be seeing, AMD processors and Apple products anytime soon. Although I would imagine that Apple and Intel have a pretty strong
I'm sure they have a
bond.
comfy relationship, and Apple would avoid AMD just to please Intel.
I don't know though. What if AMD undercuts Intel to Apple?
Hold on a sec. No, I'm talking garbage. Apple put a Vega graphics card in the Mac Pro. Remember that? The new Mac Pro that came out. Who knows? Maybe 6 months ago or something like that.
Okay.
And it had a Vega card.
Wait, what did?
That was announced
that was for the GPUs. That was for the GPU,
I'm not sure what the CPUs was in that. I think that was Intel, wasn't it?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
I'm not talking garbage. I don't remember.
No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you're right. I'm pretty sure it is Intel.
Using AMD hardware, but I don't. Have Apple ever used an AMD CPU in recent history? Have they?
Well, I think Apple originally designed their own CPUs. Actually, no, they didn't design their own CPUs.
They used PowerPC.
Well, yeah, and the PowerPC processors
I think
were
that was
built
Motorola.
Yes, I believe you're right.
It's
I believe it was
completely
Motorola.
different from what's out from x86.
Yeah, and then so Apple had their own processors made in connection with Motorola, and then the PowerPC line, which is now dead, and then they decided to go towards
x86.
x86 with Intel stuff. By the way, so I guess the reason the Ryzen processors aren't Unix friendly is because they weren't built to support Unix.
They weren't what?
They weren't built to support it.
Oh, they weren't supported?
Well, like, they didn't build it to support, like, the Unix system, I guess. I don't know. So, maybe that was just too much work or something? I don't know. Also, yes, you're right. NVIDIA does have a partnership with Intel.
I thought so.
And Apple has never used AMD CPUs. And
Apple has never used AMD CPUs. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me.
I bet these days they'd probably avoid AMD CPUs just because of the name. You know, everybody knows Intel.
Everybody does know Intel, but like I said, you have to remember.
Got an i7. It must be good.
You have to remember, AMD is coming back now, though, with the whole Ryzen.
Right? Yeah. I mean, if they manage to make their name look better, then more OEMs are going to use their.
Yeah.
I think it was HP that was looking at using these new mobile Ryzen chips.
Oh, were they?
At least all right. Let's see. Envy X360 processor, Ryzen 5 2500U. And then there's another one out Lenovo as well. Lenovo IdeaPad 720S, which has a choice of either the 2500U or the Ryzen 7 2700U. Acer Swift 3. This is on Ars Technica, by the way. You want me to link it?
No, you know what? I want to get through this real quick here, because we've gotten off topic. We've gotten more off topic this week than we have, I think, in any other week. Real quick here.
Not a problem. But anyway, we were talking about mobile Ryzen chips, right?
Yeah, so we were talking about the mobile Ryzen chips. Chips.
I love them.
This says arguably the most important segment of the computer category, speaking of, I guess, laptops, and one where Intel's line of Core i3s, i5s, and i7 chips have long reigned virtually uncontested by AMD. To that end, the company is unveiling its first two laptop processors from the Ryzen line, the Ryzen 5 2500U and the Ryzen 7 2700U, designed for ultra-thin laptops.
Not bad. And according to at least this article, they look pretty darn good, especially in GPU tasks.
And that's what I was talking about, was because AMD has a dedicated, they have
a segment of their company that builds graphics.
That builds graphics. Does that give them the upper hand? And that's what I was saying earlier, was, I think it does somewhat give them the upper hand a little bit.
I'm sure if Intel really wanted to, they could probably talk to NVIDIA.
Oh, I'm sure.
Come up with something that would rival this, but as it stands right now, at least according to AMD, some presentation that they've got here, some slides, the Ryzen mobile chips with Vega integrated graphics are looking to perform a lot better than even Kaby Lake and even Coffee Lake. Wow.
Really?
Like, wow. Almost three times as many points in 3D Mark Time Spy, and actually it is, according to this chart, it is faster than the GeForce 950M in 3D Mark Time Spy.
I don't know what any of this means because I'm not a hardware person.
Okay, 3D Mark is a benchmark.
Well, I know that. Yes,
that you know.
I know that.
We ran that. Time Spy is a DX12 benchmark.
Okay.
It's basically a DX12 version of 3D Mark.
And that's what we're up to right now.
And
DirectX
GeForce 950M is a kind of low to mid-range mobile GPU from the 900 series.
Okay.
I mean, it's nothing special. It's kind of meh, but you know,
Nah.
with an onboard graphics chip beating this thing, not bad. Now, the one thing to note here is that this is TimeSpy, which is a DX12 benchmark, and AMD is often very much at an advantage in DX. So I bet a DX11 benchmark might see the Ryzen CPU lose.
Really quick, let me point this out real quick here. So this is a little weird, actually having like somebody in the chat with us this week, because it like interjects other people's input into the show, which is kind of cool. So Retro IT says AMD will never take the market with this, with CPU because they don't. But they don't.
Because they don't.
That doesn't seem like a full sentence to me there. Basically, what he goes on to say though is that like, and this is true, is that like in terms of like web servers and stuff like that, like you're not gonna probably see Ryzen processors in them, especially if they don't support the Unix like system. Because,
data center.
Well, and here's why.
What are you talking about, right?
Yeah, data centers, like web data centers, because most web servers run on Linux, which is of course Unix based.
Yes.
And so
that makes sense.
So
but
if the processors,
whatever happened to those new server CPUs that they were planning on coming?
I don't know.
I don't actually know.
Those may be built.
I just kind of stopped hearing about them.
Yeah, they may be built for Windows, but I could be wrong. Anyway, oh yeah, by the way, did you take a look at the die on this thing?
On the mobile Ryzen chip?
Yeah, they've got a picture of it on the article. It still looks as massive as like the normal one. So
I guess I don't really have any sense of scale here, but
yeah, you're right.
The GPU part of it is pretty darn big.
Yeah. So anyway, so this is kind of a cool thing though, that like they're moving on to this whole, you know,
they're going for mobile now.
They're going for mobile now too. So
that'll be interesting. I mean, they've got some credible competition in the desktop. We'll see what they come.
So okay, real quick, specs real quick here. Both processors are 15-watt chips and offer 4 cores and 8 threads. The Ryzen 5 2500U is clocked at a base speed of 2 gigahertz, overclocked to 3.6, looks like. With the Ryzen 7 2700U coming in at a base speed of 2.2 gigahertz, can be overclocked to 3.8 gigahertz. On the GPU side, the 2500U offers 8 Radeon Vega compute units and is clocked at 1100 megahertz, while the 2700U offers 10 Vega 10
compute units.
Compute units, thank you. Clocked at 1300 megahertz. Interesting. I don't know if that's good for mobile stuff. Again, I'm not a hardware guy. I'm more of a software guy.
Compute unit doesn't really mean much to me because I don't really know what's in a compute unit. Like, you know, how many cores are in those compute units? Well, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I have to look that up.
I just looked over at the chat. Who runs AMD data centers? Wow.
AMD data center?
Wow, when was the last time you heard of an AMD data center? Like, Intel has pretty much taken the market with, like, Xeon processors, I think.
Yeah. They really have. But I think there was a lot of, there was a bit of commotion about, oh boy, 32 cores from AMD over here. That's pretty interesting.
Well, okay, so I guess...
the performance per watt is looking pretty good, too. Now, I don't know what became of it. I don't even know if they've...
I don't know...
I just kind of stopped hearing about them,
This may be the problem, though.
But I remember that was looked at with some interest by a lot of...
Here's the problem, though. I don't know if AMD can, like, get into the data center market now because it's been, like, overruled by Intel for so long.
I think you have a good point because a lot of you need a new socket. I guess might need
right?
new RAM, but
But it's also being
depending on how
said
old
that,
your old stuff is,
yeah.
you'd need some new stuff additionally to actually put one of these things in.
Now, Retro IT is also saying that AMD CPUs are not fit for the purpose in a business environment because they're not as tough, or they're not tough enough to live up to the expectations of the workload. Which, I don't know. I don't know enough about AMD CPUs and stuff like that. But in terms of like, he makes a good point though. If that's true, is that I mean, you're already done if you're not supporting Unix, by the way. Because, like I said, most servers are running some distribution of Linux. But you're right. In a data center environment, you have to have hardware that is going to be able to withstand, being powered on for, hundreds and hundreds and like thousands and thousands of hours.
High failure rates on these things?
No, I don't. Well, I don't know if there's. I don't know if he's saying that there are
high failure rates under those
failure
conditions.
Rates, but they're just not they're not designed to put up with that workload.
Well, I would hope that if they want to make an entrance into that market, they should probably address those concerns.
I don't know if they're going to be able to though. Like I said, with Intel having the kind of iron grip on all of that.
Well, it'd surely be good if they did manage to, because, competition and all.
Right. We are so going to go over this week, but I have one more topic I definitely want to cover, and it's more hardware stuff. And it actually is talking about... See, we talked about the AMD side now. Now let's talk about the Intel side of things real quick here. So this summer, Intel delivered what it says is a once-in-a-decade performance upgrade to its line of mobile processors that power Apple MacBook Air and iMac, Microsoft Surface Pro, and hundreds of other popular devices. The new chips, the first wave of 8th-gen Core CPUs, and collectively known as the Kaby Lake R series, are just the latest in a series of updates Intel has planned for the next 18 months.
Funny how all this happens right after Ryzen comes out, isn't it?
Well, I think Intel is kind of like, oh, crap. Not Ryzen.
We better stop
Intel.
Just sitting around.
Like, oh.
I mean, obviously that's what's happened. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out.
I don't know if Intel actually thought that, like, Ryzen was going to take off as well as it did. Or if they were just like, we'll just wait and see what happens. And then they were just kind of like, oh, crap. This took off
pretty well. I guess we better add some cores finally.
And we've said this before with, like, ISPs and stuff like that. Is that...
They do the same thing. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well...
As soon as
some
Google Fiber rolls into town, they start rolling out Gigabit too.
Like, oh, crap.
Crap, Google Fiber's here.
Right, we gotta stay relevant somehow. Okay, so... Oh, I'm guessing that Retro IT is a very much Team Blue.
Really?
Well, he says what I'm trying to say is AMD CPUs are crap. So...
I mean, I can't speak for data center type things.
No, I can't either.
Ryzen's doing all...
I think Ryzen...
That's
yes,
for sure.
I do have to say, I think Ryzen is doing all right. And here's my thing. So, if Retro IT is kind of going off of what my perspective of AMD has been, I've always had bad experiences with AMD stuff. And so that's why I'm anti-AMD. I'm, like, very much, like, Team Blue, You
haven't used one in forever, have you?
What,
either way...
AMD processors?
Yeah, right.
Probably a year ago or so, I had a laptop with an AMD processor in it, and it just seemed slow as crap.
Wasn't it ridiculously old though?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. You probably told me about it.
I don't remember what was in it, but
either way, if he's a Linux user, that would make some sense.
Well, that actually is true too. Yes, if he's using Linux, then hold on 1 minute here. Let me Zach, cover something real quick. I gotta go do something. Hold on.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, cover me
I'll
for
be
like
here.
a couple minutes here.
Well, I hope he muted his end, because I can hear it. I was saying I hope you can hear it, or you muted it, because...
Yeah. Okay, so I muted myself. Everyone could hear you. You could hear me because I can't mute me on like
Right,
your
yeah, I know what you
end.
mean.
Yeah. So anyway, no, we're good. Uh, let's wrap up here really quick with this last topic, and we'll call it a show for this week. But anyway, so I guess the oh, back to what you were saying though. Yes, if Retro IT is more of a okay, my workstation has twin quad-core Xeon CPUs. I'm definitely not going to run a dual processor. AMD don't have any dual pro. Oh, okay.
I don't know if I've ever even heard of dual socketing on AMD. What the heck?
Yeah, and that's what he's saying. AMD doesn't have dual socket.
AMD don't have any options, right? That makes sense.
Okay,
Well,
so
AMD
that
don't
makes
have
sense.
any options for him.
Okay, so that makes a lot more sense now that he would be a Intel fanboy. Now it makes sense. But you're right. Yes.
Fanboy is the wrong word. Just
well, okay, not fanboy, but like
basically,
AMD...
Intel's better for the job that he has for it.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't consider myself either. Really, I don't know.
Yeah.
What's better? Give me a budget, and I'll find out what's the best.
My biggest
I don't
thing
care
is
what
like
the sticker says.
yeah, I'm not I am open to.
There's plenty of information out there to find out what is the best.
Yeah. I am open to going to AMD with the more cores for less money, but then again, my use case is, I just want something that is good for primarily content creation. So,
I for one think that your rendering and stuff is definitely a good use case for Ryzen.
Yeah, and I mean, I can still game on it, but I'm not.
And
a
you're
huge
not
gamer.
looking for dual socket, fortunately.
No, I'm not looking for dual socket. So, although it'd be kind of cool to have two CPUs, but yeah, you're right.
Well, of course it'd be cool, but I don't think any of us would use.
So anyway, so back to these real quick here. So we'll finish up. So let's see. Instead of sticking with one architecture per generation, the company says its 8th generation will feature multiple architectures, which will eventually include Coffee Lake and I haven't heard of. Have you heard of Cannon Lake yet? I haven't heard of Cannon Lake yet.
We discussed what the heck is going on with those two, and that they're they're launching at the same time, and what's the difference? Well, I don't know.
So in addition to the new 15-watt Kaby Lake R,
something about they're launching 14 nanometer plus and 10 nanometer, and I'm like,
oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So the R indicates that it is a refresh of Kaby Lake. So they're doing a refresh of Kaby Lake.
Right. So that's 14 nanometer plus, or
which was part of the previous 7th gen Intel chips.
Right.
But here's what you need to know about the just released 8th generation series and what's coming up next. This says, warning, things get even more nerdy from this point on.
Not a problem.
So, the Kaby Lake R. This is a 14 nanometer plus. It's launched on August 21st, 2017. Let's see. So it includes the i7-8650U, which is 1.9 gigahertz. A 1.8 gigahertz CPU, or Core i7-8550U, a 1.7 gigahertz.
So these are mobile
Core i5-8350U, and a 1.6 gigahertz Core i5-8250U.
Okay.
Intel is sticking with the previous generation Kaby Lake name for its latest series of processors. Kaby Lake R is designed for thin and light notebooks and hybrid tablets like the Surface Pro.
The U because they're ultra low voltage.
Yes. I lost my spot. The 4 new 15-watt CPUs are all quad-core, and Intel says they're capable of delivering a 40% performance boost over current dual-core 7th generation Kaby Lake chips. Interesting.
Well, that's not entirely true because it's only going to be a boost like that if you're using all the cores. And you really think most people are going to be using all the cores a lot of the time? Probably not.
I'm with you
So
on
a little
that.
bit misleading, but not technically wrong.
Yeah. Let's see. The name of the integrated graphics is changing from HD 620 to UHD 620, but the actual hardware is the same. Ultra high definition. That's what UHD stands for. Because it makes it sound nicer.
I bet people are gonna think that's new.
I guess it's another name.
Does anybody really buy?
I guess it's another name for 4K. Actually,
graphics it has probably not. I bet actually, and I think you were about to say this, but they probably added some support for 4K related.
Yeah. It's another name for 4K, is what this says. So that bit of rebranding serves to emphasize these.
Did they add support for things, or no?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Like, did they add any new features or like anything? Like,
no, I think they just renamed it.
You can drive a 4K monitor at a higher refresh rate now, or something. I don't know. What's the difference? Really, no difference. I mean.
Oh, hey, we have. Oh, wow, we have 4 people watching right now. Hello, everyone. Anyway. So sad though that we're like wrapping the show up for this week.
And it's almost 2 hours. I think we have to.
Yeah. Doorsman Addiction says, I'm guessing he's referring to you. He keeps cutting out. Yeah, I know. We got to find a better solution than here and there. I think it's your push to talk. Like, you may need to increase the delay, like the.
Well, why don't we just use Slack next time? Because I don't have to worry about people walking in here.
That is true. Yes, we could try
Slack.
I had
a super annoying roommate for like a month, and he so nope, we are A-okay now. Awesome.
Here's the only thing with the
I really can't say I miss him. I think he was super annoying. Holy crap! He'd wake up at like 6:30 and start watching videos on his phone, and I'm like, really?
Here's the only thing about the push to talk, though. I don't, and we'll have to test this out next week or even before, but I don't get the echo. Like the
echo
of hearing myself. Right.
That was the other reason we started using this. It's because Slack was doing some other crap. All right, well, here's what's gonna happen: is I am just gonna do. Can I just have continuous, please? No, maybe. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, well, I'm on auto now, so.
Are you? That might even be worse.
I am on auto now.
So, like,
is it worse?
So whenever you talk, it, like, picks up? Because mine's just continuous.
Now it's on all the time.
Okay.
How about now?
Still cutting in a little bit in here.
Yeah, I'm talking about stuff, and now I'm stopping so that he can see if I cut out.
You didn't cut out there.
Yeah? How about
you didn't cut out, so...
Okay, well, we're gonna roll with this for a while, because I don't even know.
Okay, so back onto this. So, though we don't know when the new chips will make it into Apple's lineup, it probably won't be very soon, given that Cupertino has already delivered... Is that what that is? Delivered 2 updates in the past year or so. And for context, after Intel launched its original Kaby Lake processors in July of 2017, the first Macs equipped with the chips were released just in June. Well, yeah, Apple's usually always behind, aren't they?
Yes, so this is nothing new.
So here's an overview of what Intel says Kaby Lake R CPUs bring to the table. Up to 10 hours of 4K UHD local video playback, editing photos or creating a slideshow up to 48% faster compared to 7th generation chips, editing video footage up to 14.7 times faster. I can't see you doing that on like
faster? What?
14.7 times faster.
That's nuts.
I
What are they comparing to?
I have no idea, but I can't see you doing that on a tablet. Unless maybe you're using, like, Media Player. Or Windows Movie Maker, that's what it was. Let's see. New Windows Mixed Reality headsets will support some content, even with standard integrated GPU. Oh, that's going to be horrible. Let's see. I guess touch technology, integrated graphics support up to 3 4K external displays at once. An Intel Online Connect, I guess, whatever the heck that is. Let's see. Coffee Lake 14 nanometer plus plus, launched in September 24th, 2017. There's a 4.0 gigahertz Core i3. That's the 8350K. Interesting.
Oh, that's the overclockable one.
Is it?
But I think the issue with that one was the price was a little bit high for what it offered.
Intel continues its build out of the 8th generation, which the Coffee Lake series, with the Coffee Lake series for desktops, released this fall. The new CPUs use a slight variation of the same 14 nanometer process as the Kaby Lake family. Interesting. Moving on to Cannon Lake real quick. These are
that's 10 nanometer.
Yep, these are the 10 nanometer anticipated launch date of 2018. Here's where Intel's new generation boundaries get more confusing. Cannon Lake, which we expect to see sometime in 2018, will also be part of the 8th generation, though it will use a 10 nanometer lithograph process. In previous years, a new architecture would coincide with a new generation, but not anymore. This may include lower powered CPUs such as Intel's Core i3 and Core M line.
This whole let's bundle like 3 different sorts of architectures into one lineup of model numbers is ridiculous. I can't stand it. Why did you do that, Intel? Why did you do that?
I have no idea. So,
like, really? I mean, geez, I feel like every time I'm looking at an 8000 series CPU, I gotta look it up and be like, oh, okay, what architecture is it?
I have to sit down with you
now?
I have to sit down with you.
How fast is it?
And talk to you about all these different like Intel processors and stuff like that, and just learn more about them. Like
anything less than 8th generation is pretty simple, really.
Yeah,
which is why this whole 8th generation thing is so irritating, is because it's been the same.
We almost need like
this whole time, and now they're like, well, hey, here's the 8th generation. It's got 3 different architectures.
Yeah, we need like a road or like a diagram now of like this is this and this and this and.
All right, if it's got a U or a whatever, it's this one. If it's a desktop CPU unlocked, it's this one.
Right.
Go away.
All right.
We just have like, the usual. There's nothing wrong with the usual, is there?
I don't know. Things are getting so complicated with stuff. And the Intel lineup, like all the numbers and like stuff are already like confusing-ish enough, I guess. So.
Not really. When you get used to it.
When you don't know what you're talking about, though, like, again, I will be the first person to admit I am not big into the hardware stuff, but I want to learn.
Seriously, it's actually really simple.
Once you sit down and you start learning about it, so, yeah, you're right, so. Anyway, all right, I think we're going to wrap up this episode of The RAM Show. Yeah, geez, we went, like, almost 2 hours this week. But
yes,
that's what happens when you start talking about hardware, I guess. So, and like I said, it was fun to have somebody like in the chat. Captain Boss says cool, by the way. So, but it's fun when we have people in the chat because then they interject things into the stream and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool.
I mean, tell us when we're wrong.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Not if there's anything wrong with it. Probably said that like there was something wrong with that. No, there's nothing wrong with that.
So, well, and you know what? I am not too proud to admit that I am wrong sometimes.
As you should be.
Right? So, I will admit when I'm wrong, but I will also correct where correction needs to be made sometimes. So, anyway. All right. With that being said, I think it's time to end this episode of the RAM Show. So, anyway. yeah, let's see here. Can I hit the right buttons? So, all right. Yeah, so with that said, I'm going to end this episode of The Rams Show. Thank you to everyone who joined in this week. It was actually a lot of fun to actually have people like with us on the live stream this week. Hopefully that continues to grow over time. Thank you so much for, I think we're up to like 73, 74 subscribers now. So that's awesome as well. With all of that being said, yes, I'm going to end this episode of The Ram Show. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week right here. What time do we start?
5.
Yeah, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. On Sunday. So hopefully you join us next week. So yeah, bye!